Hello, class, and welcome to our lecture on Chapter 8, Religion and Identity. I've broken this lecture down into a few parts so that it's a little bit easier to take the information in and easier to go back and find information on specific world religions. So this is what we'll be going over today in all of the parts of the lectures that you'll watch. So we're going to cover major world religions. So specifically Hinduism, Buddhism, Shinto, which is practiced specifically in Japan, Christianity, Islam, and actually we are going to talk a little bit about Judaism, even though it is not considered one of the world's major religions. And then we're going to take a deep dive into Islam and Arab culture in part 4 of this lecture. Okay, so let's connect religion with identity and specifically our cultural identity. So religion consists of beliefs, and some religions have personal beliefs like meditation. Others believe in a God, and we call this a monotheistic religion. And some religions believe in multiple deities, and we call this polytheistic or many gods. So in most world religions, there are practitioners. So these are people that lead the religion. So priests, shamans, and some religions do have levels of hierarchy. Like we can see this in the Catholic Church with the Pope being at the top, and then we have other priests below. So most world religions have rituals and symbols. So these are elements that represent the culture, symbols like the cross, the Jewish star. You could have things like shrines, places of worship, and you might even have rituals like rites of passage, like a bar bat mitzvah. Usually there is a religious text to go along with, so things like holy books like the Bible, scripts, sometimes just origin stories, so how the religion started or even like how the world started, and admonitions, so like stories that offer advice or ways to live your life, sort of like guidelines for living your life. And most religions offer rules to live by, and these are usually found in the holy books or texts. So things like commandments, Islam has pillars of Islam, also just guidelines for gender norms. Even some religions have guidelines for how to participate in the government. They might even provide things like norms for communication and behavior. And we're going to take a deeper look into this about what are some of the values and beliefs of each of these religions. So I usually ask my classes, what are some beliefs, norms, values, and practices that you learned from religion? So what are some basic beliefs that you learned in your religion? Things like forgiveness and compassion are important beliefs to Christianity. Maybe things like introspection would be important to a Buddhist. We also see things like norms, values, and practices. So sometimes there are these rites of passage or just norms and things that we participate in every week or a few times a year, depending on our religion. So maybe you go to a Sunday service, maybe there are things like prayer 5 times a day or at specific times, maybe Shabbat dinner, or specific high holidays like Christmas and Easter. And so these are examples of norms and practices that kind of go along with the religion. It's also important to think throughout this lecture, how do your beliefs or how does religion influence your communication with others and their communication with you? For example, if you meet somebody who is practicing the same religion that you are, do you feel connected to them? Studies show that we do feel connected to people even if we don't know them. Let's say you meet somebody and they are from another country, but they are the same religion as you. You might have some of those core values in common and already feel a little bit of a connection or a bond with this person. Or religion can create conflict. We've seen religious conflicts all over the world in the past and also currently today. So think about how religion can influence your communication, how it can be a bridge, or how it can also be a barrier to intercultural communication. Again, I want to revisit our first lesson. So if we go all the way back to chapter 1, you remember these 6 aspects of our cultural identity. It's important to note that religion is one of the oldest aspects of our cultural identity. So religions go back thousands of years, some of them only hundreds of years, and it is one of the oldest parts of our cultural identity. So these are beliefs and values that are deep-seated. They've been with us and passed along the course of generations for a long time. So these are the major world religions. Christianity is the most popular religion, with 31% of the world's population identifying as Christian. And this also includes things like Catholic, Protestant within Christianity. The next most popular is Islam, and someone who practices Islam is considered a Muslim. So that's why that says that there. 23% of the world's population identifies as Muslim, 15% Hindu, 7% Buddhist, 6% folk, so these would be like smaller religions like Voodoo, or religions that are specific to tribes. Then next we have the Jewish faith, which is only 0.8%, and then 16% other. So that's why Judaism is not considered one of the world's most popular religions, but we do have a large percentage of Jewish population in the United States. Somewhere around 30 to 40% of the world's Jewish population live in the United States. And so we are going to go over Judaism today. Okay, so our first religion that I'd like to talk about is Hinduism. So this is practiced in India, Thailand, Southeast Asia are like the main areas where it's practiced. Of course, Hinduism can be practiced in different countries and all over the world, and it is. There are 1 billion followers. In this religion, there's some debate. So most Hindus would say that there is only one God, but God can manifest or show up in many forms. So God has many names and many forms, and we might see different depictions of God. I have a picture here where you can see a figure that has multiple arms. This is a depiction of the god Brahman. And Brahman is not said to be a physical being, but instead a metaphysical concept. So the concept of an ultimate reality, of infinite truth and wisdom, sort of like what we are all hoping to attain in our lifetime. Some major beliefs in Hinduism is meditation, silence, and introspection or self-reflection. I do want to show you a short video on Hinduism, so here we go.
Hinduism is the 3rd largest religion in the world, with more than 1 billion adherents globally. It ranks just below Christianity and Islam and is considered to be one of the world's oldest active religions. So where did it all start? What's the history of Hinduism? First and foremost, Hinduism doesn't have one specific set of teachings, nor a specific holy doctrine or founder, though it may have originated as far back as 3000 BCE with the Indus Valley Civilization near the current border of Pakistan and India. Although Hinduism is commonly classified as a religion, it is also considered a philosophy and a culture, because the belief system has no standard method of practice. It's considered to be one of the most tolerant religions in the world. Hinduism is closely associated with other Eastern religions. In fact, Hinduism incorporated concepts like karma and reincarnation around the same time that similar concepts emerged in Buddhism and Jainism. These ideas deal with the cycle of life and rebirth, as well as the consequences of a person's actions. Another major distinguishing feature of Hinduism, compared to most other active religions, is its belief in multiple deities. The primary 3 are Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, but there are many others. However, some Hindus consider these deities to be manifestations of a single cosmic spirit called Brahman, who is genderless and omnipotent. Many Hindus also consider the ancient Vedic texts to be sacred. The scripture was written in Sanskrit around 1000 BCE as a hymn to the gods. Within the Veda, multiple major and minor deities are described, including Indra, the king of gods, and Vishnu, a protector god. Today, Hindus recite verses from this text ritualistically during weddings and funerals. Currently, about 15% of the world's population subscribes to Hinduism, with roughly 99% of Hindus residing in India and Nepal. In nations like Mauritius, Fiji, and Guyana, Hindus also constitute a large minority. In America, there are also about 2 million Hindus who make up about 0.5% of the population. Hinduism started in South Asia and continues to thrive there. India's relationship with Hinduism is deep, with the Hindu Nationalist Indian People's Party currently wielding power. India's Prime Minister is also the latest in a long line of predominantly Hindu leaders. By 2050, Hinduism is expected to grow by 34% to about 1.4 billion adherents globally. However, as its influence is limited outside Asia, the religion will most likely stay in the number 3 spot behind Christianity and Islam for a long time to come.
Okay, so those are the major findings from our first section of lecture on Hinduism. Go ahead and click on part 2 of this lecture to continue.